for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. If you're up and around and you're out and about and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Joining me on the show today is none other than my cat from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park, Brother Richard Stefanski. How you doing out there in Sunnyside, California?
Hey, I'm always honored and humbled to be on this program with you. I know that it takes a lot for you from Dallas and your studios there in Dallas to invite humble, young men like us on the program, and we're always honored to be on with you, myself and my man up in Michigan.
Yeah. Did you walk the Yorkie today? I didn't think so. Absolutely not. You know, I'm going to call Peter on you. For real, I am. You and these mules and this mistreatment of puppies, it's not going to keep going down like that. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
Joe Lenardi's projections are in.
Brother
Rich has made the field.
Oh, my gosh. You're not supposed to
Barbershop, you're out.
Thank you. I mean, hey, listen. As long as I got my bunny slippers and a pint of Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia, I don't give a beep, 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 beep. I don't care. I sleep good at night. I'm comfortable in my own skin. Brother Rich, right quick, before we start getting some of this action for the day, there's some video that surfaced here recently about you at Whole Foods sipping soup from the ladle, soup ladle at Whole Foods. Would you care to elaborate on that? You know what I mean? You need a soft couch to sit on or something. Do you need to talk to somebody?
Well,
about
Mr. Jones, you told me that your team owner, Mr. Jones, owned that Whole Foods. Right? I'm allowed to go in there and do as I please as a member of your executive staff.
Yeah,
so I just took that upon myself. So I ask you to forgive me.
Oh no. No, I'll forgive you, but at the same time, your membership card will be revoked. Meanwhile, back at the Ranchero, we all saw the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Furious, Part 2, right? Part 2, right? Brother Rich, did you see it?
Right.
Double J, I know you saw it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. How much did you lose, Double J, by the way, on that fight, if anything? A couple thousand, 25 million,
No, that
2.5 billion.
was purely a spectator.
Oh, you were a spectator for that one? Man, if you all see some of the videos that Double J be posting up there at the Palace Arena and all of that, you know what I'm saying? He might as well put a jersey on. My man got it going on. Anywho, yeah. So, okay, we all know the first fight was controversial. It was a controversial draw, right? Okay. So going into the second fight, the general consensus was that Wilder, because we've seen a couple of fighters who were, supposedly, all that and a couple of bags of chips in their heyday, in particular Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr., who had the fastest hands in boxing. Roy Jones did, by the way. In his prime, untouchable. Anyway, that's a story for another day. We saw what these two guys, the aforementioned fighters in particular, did when they had a second go-around at a guy they had fought previous, and there was question from the fans and so on and so forth about whether or not if the so-called star of the fight won. In the case of Floyd, I believe it was Castillo, when he fought Castillo for the second time, I believe. And then in the case of Roy Jones, it was Montel Griffith. In both cases, Floyd and Roy beat the brakes off them guys, left no doubt. Okay? In other words, they were sending a message to the fans. Y'all want to doubt who I say I am? You know my line. If you are what you say you are, then what else will say that or show that other than you showing up? right? James Harden fans. But anyway, in this second fight, man, I'm thinking Wilder getting ready to put something on Fury that he ain't never seen before. Double J, we'll start with you. Are you shocked at the end result of Wilder Furious Part 2?
You know, I as much as I would like to say I really wasn't. You know, you didn't see much different in his approach from fight 1 to 2. Obviously, if you look at their weight, and speaking of weight, he implied that the shredder suit that he had on had an impact on his performance that evening.
Yeah, so he had he had a wardrobe malfunction. Okay, bad joke. Keep going.
Well, you know, ultimately here he simply got outboxed. I mean, this thing, it went 7, but it was done really in 3. He was wobbling by 5, and towel thrown in.
Yeah.
2 rounds later.
Brother Rich, before you weigh in, let me add to what Double J is saying here. You know, of course, in this second fight, you know, after 2 knockdowns, I think he knocked him down in was it the 3rd and the 5th, I believe. And then in the 7th, of course, he put him out basically for good. But as Double J mentioned, I was going to ask the question, Brother Rich, do you think that the loss was due to Wilder's wardrobe malfunction? Or better yet,
Absolutely.
Go ahead, because then I'll ask the second one after that. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that Deontay Wilder's instincts initially after the loss were very correct. What was apparent to me and others, and I've heard this sentiment from other people, so I can include them in this, but it was apparent to me personally immediately that this young man was totally unprepared for this fight, and that his corner and whoever prepared him for this fight did not prepare him correctly. And when I later learned that Fury went up there to Michigan, that great boxing mecca, and trained with a great fighting team, it made perfect sense. He was totally prepared for this fight, and Wilder was not, and that's why he was ultimately embarrassed. He looked and that's why what Double J said, it went 7, but it was over very early, because why? It was clear from the get-go, from the opening bell, that he was not prepared for the fight, and that's why some people suggested there may have been some chicanery going on. Because
some malfeasance.
It looked too easy. It was not supposed to be this easy. It was not. We were all expecting some kind of fight. 2 big men going at it and them having a real fight, a big heavyweight fight. We didn't see that. We saw one man beat up another man. Let's be honest. That's what we saw.
Yeah. And you know what else? Miss me with it was a black thing, it's a white thing versus a black thing. Okay? Right. All them folks out there that's black that was talking about, Wilder, Fury, they wanted to. We listen, we know boxing, and we've seen cases where that would be the case before, where they stroll a guy out there, as the great white hope, so to speak. But this was not that at all in this case, period.
Right.
Like Brother Richard just said, Wilder was unprepared. But let me add this as well. I kind of been going back and forth with my cats up in the Chi-Town up there, I'm saying, the Windy City. My cats, the Parlay, T-Lo and Kendall Gill, shout out. Because they talk, that's the primary topic of discussion for them, and what they do now is boxing. And they had me on the show, I think even before the first fight, or right around the time of the first fight, we were discussing it or whatnot. And I kept telling them, no disrespect to Wilder. It's not his fault that the quality of opponents or heavyweights or whatever it is not the same as it was when we grew up watching. But at the same time, to your point, Brother Rich, about being unprepared, the guy Wilder strikes me as a dude who think he can knock everybody out. Being able to knock folks out does not mean that you can box. And I asked them on their show, when you watch, see, everybody wants, not everybody, but a lot of folk They want the heavyweight division in boxing to be what the heavyweight division in boxing was when we was watching it, bro, Rich. When we was having fight parties, didn't care how much the fight cost. You understand? Because you knew that both sides was going to be bringing the noise. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? When the heavyweight division was carrying the sport of boxing, it is not. I don't care how much hype you put on these dudes and all of that and whatever. And again, it's not their fault that the quality of opponents are not the same, but they cannot. The heavyweight division, as it currently stands in professional boxing, cannot carry. It couldn't carry our jock straps across the street. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear nothing about Anthony Joshua when he just got knocked out by the Pillsbury Doughboy, and then Wilder went in there and unprepared. Man, even in the case of Mike Tyson, we all remember that when Buster Douglas shocked the world, so to speak. In that instance, when people recall that fight in particular, what they fail to realize is it was controversy before Buster did what he did because Mike had dropped Buster. See, they leave that part out. So it ain't like Buster just went in there and beat Mike up and Mike just, even though we know Mike had been he was kind of going through the same stuff, hanging out in Cleveland, kicking it at the clubs, not really focusing on his craft like he was when he was with Cuss. He rest in peace. But at the end of the day, and then in that Tyson fight too, if I'm not mistaken, there's somebody on the outside, on the ring side, that when a guy goes down, they start to count. And then the ref is supposed to check in with them and pick the count up from where they left off or whatever the case may be. And I forget who the ref was in that fight, but for whatever the case, for whatever reason, there was a 5-second or 6-second difference between the ringside guy starting the count and the ref picking up the count in that Tyson Douglas, which gave, if you know anything about boxing, 7, 8, 9 seconds is a lot of time to lightweight recover. You understand? Especially if you're getting, towards the end of the ring or whatever, the round or whatever the case may be. Man, at the end of the day, Wilder came in to the ring, and I get it that boxing is hype and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, what's wrong with black shorts, in a shirt, and just come on in there and take care of your business, man. That outfit that he had on, I thought he was about to transform. I'm like, is this Optimus Prime or is it Bumblebee? Which one is it? You know what I mean? You did all of that and you go in there and get your mouth tore out like that. It's unacceptable. If you are what they say you are, then even in defeat, you know my line, Brother Rich, a champion is supposed to still look like a champion. But here's the question I have for you as well, Brother Rich, and then Double J, you can weigh in too. Should Mark Breland, who's the trainer for Wilder, should he have thrown in the towel, Brother Rich?
Absolutely. That man was absolutely clearly hurt. And as big as he is, and he's getting hit by an even bigger man, he could have been seriously injured. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boxing is no place for pride. Let's be honest about that. That I can go out on my shield nonsense mean I can go out dead. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And that we don't want to see that young man based on his pride. But that's why the good book tells us pride goeth before a fall.
Yeah.
So why his trainer was boxing. Let me throw it in.
Yeah, I lost you just for a second. You kind of went out there, but I get your point. Yeah, you're right, Ray. No question. But and I asked that because there's a lot of flack Breland lightweight getting, if you would, for throwing in the towel. Deontay was salty at him for throwing in the towel, but like in the case of football, if a player get dinged up good enough, well, they got concussion protocol to the 10th power now, but once upon a time, you had to take a player's helmet, save him from himself, so to speak. And I think that's what Breland was doing, saving the dude from himself. No need for you. Because Wilder got his jaw broke, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he, Double J?
Eardrum. I don't believe his jaw was broke.
Okay, his jaw wasn't broke. Okay, but eardrum. Either way, it kind of almost reminded me of the time when Joe Calzaghe laid hands on Jeff Lacy. If you go back and look at the Sports Illustrated, I'm sure you can find the cover somewhere because it was on the cover. You look at Jeff Lacy, his face after Joe Cal put them hands on him. He was bleeding from his ears, his nose. He looked like he had been in a UFC fight. I mean, I'm just saying, man, you can't run up in there talking all that hype, at the weigh-ins and the face-to-faces and all of that, and then go up in there and look like that, man. Even in defeat, you're still supposed to go out like a champion. And that didn't happen. So now, of course, the trilogy is set, the third one, which I'm glad that boxing is getting back to that because we trilogies were a norm when we was growing up watching fights. You get what I'm saying, Brother Rich? And then and of course the third fight is set to take place this year, July 18th of this year, if I'm not mistaken, which I thought was even more like, wow, okay. Which put me in the mind frame of when Sugar Ray and Duran was going back and forth with their little inside the ring and outside the ring. I remember watching a documentary and Sugar Ray said, no, he was on vacation with his wife. And his wife said Sugar Ray was so antsy, you know what I mean? Because he couldn't stop thinking about the loss to Duran that she told him, like, look, get whoever you need to get on the line and go back and handle it because you need to exercise them demons, so to speak. You need to get that out your system. And sure enough, and then the fight with Duran was on again, which wasn't seemed like wasn't even 10 minutes after the fact. So I appreciate the fact that these two dudes are going to get together sooner rather than later, because how many times in the current state of boxing, which I say lends itself to why boxing is keep giving itself a black eye, just like the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao. When it first came out that these two had agreed to fight or were going to fight, we thought it was going to be none other than, that was your cue, Brother Rich, Jerry's World, right?
Fact.
And then the fight didn't actually take place till 2 or 3 years later. So I'm talking to my cousin. We had him on the show before. Tariq, my boxing analyst. He said, "Oh man, they just trying to build up the hype, man. They just trying to build up the hype." I said, "Well, timing is everything. If they don't do it sooner rather than later, the sponsors for this fight, when they finally go to do it, is going to be what? Hover Round, Life Alert, instead of Tecate and Budweiser. You know what I mean? So kudos to both of these dudes for turning right back around and getting right back at it, because boxing is one of them sports, man, where, you know, like football, similar to anyway, you know, the recovery period is necessary. You know what I mean? So for these guys to be fighting in July, Double J, would you say that that's like maybe too soon?
Well, you got to take into consideration that there's Fury specifically only had 2 fights left, and he said he's done. So usually there's that boxing calendar is interesting, but if you got 2 left and you already ideally are even looking beyond this first one, that might be why there's a little bit. This one's a little bit more expedited.
Really? I didn't hear him say that. So in other words, the rematch or the third rubber match will be against Wilder, and then one more after that, and he said he's calling it quits? Fury, that is.
That's correct, yep.
Oh, I ain't mad at that.
So win, lose, or draw. He's got 2 left in his contract, and he said he is done.
Yeah, and then I saw something where Floyd said if he trained Wilder, he could train Wilder to beat Fury. You think that's the case, Brother Rich?
Absolutely. That's what Wilder needs. It was clear he was an untrained fighter. He looked totally unprepared. Like, man, hold up. The first thing I told somebody was, this man needs to fire his corner. He needs to fire everybody in his corner. They wasn't telling him nothing they're not even telling him nothing and throw a jab. They're not saying nothing. He getting beat up in there. They're not telling him no defense. They should have even told him run, step back, get yourself together. They're not telling him nothing. Absolutely, I think Floyd could give him some defensive skills, some understanding of how to set his punches up better, because as you indicated earlier, all he's looking is for the big shot.
Yeah, that's all he's looking for is the big shot. Brother Rich? Yeah, you keep going in and out a little bit on us. What'd you say, Double J? Brother Rich, you keep going in and out a little bit on us. Yeah, you good. What'd you say, Double J?
No rebuttal on my end. There was no interjection, rather.
Yeah. I'm with both of y'all on that, man. You know, you can't go into boxing. How do you go into a fight unprepared? That's what I want to know. So you know what, Brother Rich, what you saying that? So then does that fall on Mark Breland then?
Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I said I thought his inclination after the fight was correct. Fire them, because you were not prepared. They didn't prepare. Even the suit, if you want to use that as an excuse. Somebody should tell him, man, this is a fight. This is not a costume contest. So
Yeah.
Get ready to go fight somebody. This man want to knock your head off.
Yeah. Yeah, I say the same thing, man. But, I do. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to the trilogy. I'm looking forward to this third one because, again, man, and it's not just Wilder, it's Joshua and Ruiz. And I know anybody can be knocked out on any given day or so on and so forth. But, I think about when I watch these heavyweights now, and I haven't watched many of them, again, nothing says to me, oh, that's the sweet science right there. That's number one. And number two, I'm not comparing these heavyweight fighters today to those fighters of yesterday, literally, but in a figurative sense, I think back to a cat like Lennox Lewis, and I'm saying to myself, these dudes ain't letting their hands go. They not putting punches together like Lennox and them dudes was, man. And my favorite, believe it or not, Mike was one, but my favorite was Ike Abiabuchi. Ike Abiabuchi was coming for all of y'all. He was. And the man messed up and caught a doggone case. I was like, I be gosh darn. But Ike was coming. But, man, them dudes back then, man, they used to let they punch, even for heavyweights. Now, of course, them punches, they didn't last long. They didn't go for 25 minutes like some featherweights and bantamweights, of course. But, 4, 5, 6, 7 punches. I mean, and I'm, again, not comparing them to, but look at Ali. Look at Frazier. You could clearly see in either case, when them cats like that fought, you could see what the game plan was. You know what I mean? What was Wilder's game plan? Like Brother Richard said, to land the big shot?
He had none.
He had no game plan. So how you in that sport and you ain't got no game plan
Well,
going?
he had none, and that was clear.
Yeah. What'd you say, Double J?
And I'm gonna double down on exactly that point when a lot of people that the only rebuttal I had ever heard as to why they shouldn't have thrown in the towel was that maybe there was some belief that Fury had gotten tired, where maybe that he could have landed that big shot. But from everything that I had seen through those 7 rounds, did not indicate that there was anything other than a 0.1% chance of that happening.
Yeah.
But he looked like, that's the only, throwing up that
Imagine that for
shot.
a strategy.
Imagine
that for a strategy for a heavyweight fight.
What's that, Brother Rich?
Imagine that for a strategy for a heavyweight fight. That I'm gonna wait for you to get tired of whooping my ass. My behind.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I get it. Yeah, we don't like the profanity, but I get it. Yeah, because it was one of them moments. It just had to come out. Like, are you serious? Yeah, that's some strategy, right? Yeah. Well, again, I got to tell you, I don't recall a rematch, taking place so soon since, like I said, Leonard and Duran. So I'm cool with all of that. But you know what, Double J, and I don't know if you heard this, Brother Rich, there was some talk, and I don't know if it's just a rumor or just folks just making excuses or what, that Fury had the Margarito effect. Said his hands were loaded. You believe that, Double J?
Well, I may have been one of those that had pointed it out that Hasim Rahman Jr. is a Facebook friend of mine, of course, boxer, and he had reposted that video and commented on it as well.
Yeah,
that it had appeared that that's exactly what had taken place. Based on what we've seen, and if Wilder had put up any kind of any representation or similarity to the first fight,
yeah,
maybe that opens the door for that. But he was so flat, and I'm here. You know why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
That to bring any of that into the equation, I think is silly. It's for the guys that may have lost some finances on the fight.
Yeah. Well, given that, I watched Cotto take a beating from Margarito, but he still fought back. If I'm not mistaken, that fight went 12 until he finally took a knee. And kudos to Cotto for being able to, because after the fact, of course, it was found out that Margarito had cement blocks in his gloves. You know what I mean? So to take that beating Cotto did and to keep coming back, Man, Cotto was one of my favorites, regardless of weight class. He was one of my favorites. One of the few dudes I seen touch Floyd up, too. Had Floyd's nose leaking. I never saw that before. So, yeah, Cotto was one of my dudes. But even still, man, even in that case, he fought back. And Wilder just looked done from the begun. All right? Yeah, and I kind of think maybe that might be an excuse, too. And then how stupid, if that's the case, how stupid could Fury be to do something like that? You know what I mean? With so much on the line, you know, especially after, again, having seen that happen here in recent memory with, like I just mentioned, Margarito and Cotto. Why would you do something like that? I don't think so, but, you know, we'll see as the hype again builds for this third, hopefully, and final fight. Then we'll see if that's something like that, you know, if all that comes out later on after the fact. But, yeah, that's good stuff, fellas. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. All right, let's revisit the NFL, or should I say the upcoming NFL collective bargaining agreement proposals, negotiations, yada, yada, et cetera, part due. All right. Now, we talked about this, of course, we touched on it last week. I was hoping to have Herm on again this week. But since we were here last week discussing it, there are some new things that have come to light. Michael Thomas, the wide receiver for the Saints, has some choice words to say in regards to the $17 million deal that CBS gave Tony Romo. Michael Thomas says that basically Romo's contract by CBS serves as proof positive that the players should not sign this upcoming deal. Now, Herm weighed in on it because I mentioned a thing or two on Facebook. Herm weighed in on it, and I'll read Herm's comments in a minute. But, Brother Rich, I'm going to start with you. Do you think Michael Thomas was counting Tony Romo's money, or do you think he was just pointing to Romo not to count his change or count his pockets or whatnot, but as a means to let the players know, like, look, if we want what we say we want and what we asking for, if they can give this dude that for doing what he does, aside from the fact that he was a former player because he's now in the booth, then we need to make sure that we measure twice, cut once, as I mentioned in the last go-round. So what say you, Brother Rich?
I totally agree with everything you just said as it relates to that sentiment. Absolutely, he's showing them. Look at what kind of money's on the table for the NFL contract with television. Look at what kind of money these people are playing with. That they can give this guy $17 million to be in the booth for a few games a year, calling games on CBS. And we're negotiating over guaranteed. We're not even at the point where they can get guaranteed contracts, health care, these basic kind of things that should be a part of any NFL contract, with the kind of things that they do and putting their body on the line to entertain us, as we said on the last program. So the fact that these people are putting their body on the line every weekend to entertain people, and the fact that some of them will not be able to walk for their grandchildren, they're suffering more and more from CTE and all the maladies that go with that kind of violence that they subject their bodies to. The fact that somebody can go in the booth and get this kind of money to talk about what they're doing, and they're fighting for some kind of guaranteed salary in the kind of world we live in today is ridiculous.
And you know what? Let me add something to that, too. As fans, I just have a strong disdain, and I'll continue to say this as often as we discuss football and any other sport where this pertains to. Fans who do not take the time out to do at least enough research to discern between the comments that you're going to make about players' monies and what a player's worth or should get, as opposed to, in other words, folks right out the gate saying Romo ain't worth that. Okay, but that's how can you say that, though, in that arena? We're talking about my thing is, why are we looking at what the announcer and what he making and what the player ain't making and what he worth for? Let's look at these owners and CBS.
Fact.
You see what I'm saying? Can we start having a conversation about them? Because again, at the end of the day, ain't nobody paying to come see Robert Kraft. They're paying to see They're paying to come to see Tom Brady. You know what I mean? And it's always beneficial to the owners for even the past CBAs. Even though they've been agreed upon, how they still don't benefit the players. What leverage do the players have, really, though? That's what I really want to know, Double J, and I hope you can answer that for me. Because it seems like the players don't really have no leverage, except maybe in this case. And I was talking to a coworker of mine, pretty astute when it comes to his sports knowledge, and he mentioned this as well. The owners are in a rush to get this done, not because they give a X, Y, Z, but it's the TV deal that's upcoming. They can't do nothing with the new TV contracts or TV deals until the CBA, this thing is done. That's why they in a hurry to do it. So what leverage, Double J, or is that the leverage that the players have?
Well, yeah, that's pretty rhetorical there. I do want to point this out. I'm glad that Michael Thomas said what he said. However, this actually makes their point. What you're seeing with Tony Romo, that's a free market. They can pay whatever they want. Because, again, they're right. Tony Romo is not a player. He's an analyst these days. So the analyst market can pay whatever the analysts organizations are willing to pay.
Right. Okay, but let me say this too, though, right quick. Let me ask.
But
okay,
these guys that are understanding that, wait a minute, we're getting a very, very raw deal here. And
right,
we're just because we're getting a little bit more. Remember, as you just stated, we're not the fan, the media. They're not there to see Robert Kraft or Jerry Jones as much as you'd like that. You might be the exception to the rule.
Oh, boy.
But for everyone else, they're there to watch Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, all the faces of the franchise, if you will,
right,
and of the league as a whole. So the moment you start taking that away, you have the leverage. What are they going to do? They can't go get what are they going to contract the XFL players if all of them walk?
Yeah.
You can only go as far as your labor force. These
right,
guys need to be willing to hold out.
Yeah.
You heard what Herm said last week.
Yeah.
There were certain things that he did, not for the betterment of himself, but for those that were coming after him.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Let me.
These guys have to be willing to do that.
Yeah, let me read to you what Herm said, and this kind of is more so in regards to Tony Romo, but he kind of touched on the whole thing. He said normalization is sad. The issue shouldn't be what Romo is earning. Bottom line is he wouldn't be earning what he's making if the NFL product wasn't worth the coverage. Playing another sport has jack bleep to do with it. You'll find other commentators making more than athletes who play other sports. I don't care how great of a commentator a person is. Without a great product, he or she is not getting top dollar. Talking about the obvious is not a crime. He's saying that in the case of what Michael Thomas said, pointing out how much Romo's getting. But you know what? I think the owners, and here's the sad part, Double J, Brother Rich, is that the NFL Players Association, kind of lightweight, if you look at it, put your reading glasses on, there's some underhanded, backdoor type stuff. Before they gave it, now it's got to go to all of the players or the vast majority or whatever to put a vote for this new CBA. But initially, it was like once the owners was cool with it, the first level of the Players Association was cool with it too. So my thing is, how you supposed to be representing the dudes that's supposed to be going against management, but you lightweight doing management is solid by saying, this look good to us. How? It makes absolutely no doggone sense. And I think that the owners are targeting those players. See, and the idea is divide and conquer now. Pay attention to what's going on here. Excuse me. The Russell Wilsons and the J.J. Watts and the Michael Thomases, they make the double-digit millions a year. But it's them guys who making the $6 million or less than the league minimum or whatnot. Those are the guys who are on the fence, if you would. Like, wait a minute. If we stand to get more money out the deal, how can it be a bad deal, and so on and so on and so forth. And Russ, so people are like, man, Russ, you can say what you can tell us not to sign because you got your money. No. It ain't about that. You'll get more money too, but you just got to have some patience. And we all understand, if we don't understand, we should, that patience is the one virtue that unlocks all the others. Now, where's the line at? Giants tackle Nate Solder, on the flip side, is in favor of the proposed deal as it is. And here's what he said. It's a great deal for the core players. Minimum salaries would go up, and that's, of course, we talking about the guys who make the league minimum and so on and so forth. He's saying the minimum salaries would go up significantly with bumped up benefits for current and retired players. Do you see that being the case, Brother Rich, based on the information that we have so far about this CBA?
Of course, that's the point. That's the whole point of your point to us is the owners, they know exactly what they're doing. They know who this deal appeals to. They're not appealing. They're smart enough to understand the Bernie Sanders effect in reverse. They appeal to the masses, understanding that the masses are the ones that are suffering and that the top tier or the top 1% are not impacted. So even though the top 1% are wise enough to understand the nature of the contract, to the degree that the masses may or may not understand that. And so they are playing to that effect in the reverse. And so they are anticipating, eventually those guys who are not making that kind of money, they're going to give up the fight anyway because they can't live. They're not living the same lifestyle as the big guys, the well-made guys. But this is, you asked us the question, do they have any leverage? Certainly they do. They have all the leverage because, let's be honest, next year we all want to see what Patrick Mahomes is going to do and Lamar Jackson. We don't care what you and Mr. Jones do in your skybox there in Dallas.
Really?
You all can do what you want.
I thought we was having a serious moment here.
We want to see we want to see the players. We want to see the new talent. The NFL, because of social media, they're getting out here as well. But the owners want to continue to contain that, but it's too late. So their leverage is to sit down and say, you know what, we will all collectively not do this. We will not do this. But unfortunately, it does not look like that will prevail this time. We hope it would, but it does not look like it would.
Double J, do you see a work stoppage on the horizon? I do. And I'm going to tell you why. It's interesting that DeMaurice Smith, head of the NFLPA, and Richard Sherman, a while back, remember, told players, remember there was some talk early on, hey, y'all might want to start saving your chips, stacking a little bit, because we might be headed for a strike or a stoppage or whatever the case may be. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Double J?
Well, that's it. That was exactly it. It's that, this being news that they may not only reject the deal, but it may take a while. To me, was expected. This type of negative energy has been stated the last two CBAs that they were able to get the deal done. But this time around, again, if you look at the NFL's growth plan, and like as you pointed out, a new TV deal, which is going to be a large element of that, there is no way I would be signing my name on the dotted line at all, because again, what happens that following week, the minute that you agree to this deal, and then you find out how many billions the owners are going to be receiving, it would make you sick to your stomach. That you feel like, okay, well, you just made me share the 2 pennies, and now, meanwhile, you're sitting on a pile of actual bills.
Yeah. Let me point out.
And remember, Double J, add on to that. They're about to get a European deal, because that's the whole point of how they intend to spread the brand, continue to grow the brand. They want to go to Europe. They're trying to go to all these other different markets, the marketing of NFL paraphernalia then is in London, is in this place.
Right.
And they're going to be getting the lion's share that while the players are going to, and they're trying to tie the players up for 10 years. 10 years, where the average life expectancy of an NFL career is 3.5 years.
And
so you're talking about at least 3 life cycles of the NFL where you're just going to continue to get money off of rookies and minimum wage players and just continue to get this.
Yeah, it's like you doing 8 hours of overtime at your job, but somebody else get the money. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seemed like. No, that's bass ackward. You talking about cart before the horse? Y'all can kiss. You know what? Don't even get me started on this program. But Brother Rich, at the same time though, when you mentioned European or Europe, you was talking about the NFL going over to London. Because if I'm not mistaken, Double J, wasn't it somewhere reported that the Jaguars will be playing 2 home games in London? Did you hear that or read that?
That's right.
Yeah.
They absolutely. You got to remember here, the players don't want to go play for Jacksonville currently. And then additionally,
they got a fire sale going on over there.
Yeah, the league itself and the team itself makes more money for games being held in the UK in comparison to their home stadium.
Dang. No wonder the NFL is talking about.
And remember now, just currency-wise, you're making more money with the Jaguars playing in London because they're paying in pounds. And they're economy strong, so they're able. So you can. I don't know what the ticket prices are, but imagine that what an NFL ticket. Let's say an NFL ticket costs $100 here. They're probably paying $120, $130 pounds maybe to go to a game.
Okay.
80 pounds, 90 pounds. So they're paying up. They're making revenue. They're selling jerseys to a brand new audience, introducing these players to These are the shield, if you will, as they say, to a brand new audience, because there is a semblance of that in Europe in the form of rugby. So now they're opening a whole other market. The players are not even knowledgeable on their level because, as you said, they're making $6 million, and they're thinking, man, y'all got your money. I ain't trying to deal with that because we need our money to live these lifestyles, go to these strip clubs, throw these parties, blow money. We need our money for that.
Yeah, and just to give you some idea of what NFL money is like, it's been a couple years ago. I called the Indians, the Browns, and the Cavs. I was going to see if the fellas at the shop, we were going to all go in and get a suite at one of the respective venues, right? Something we can, get together, have some, we know a couple of guys that come to the shop, they cater and all that kind of stuff. As a, just change the scenery from hanging out at the shop, during football season all the time, that type of deal. So I called the Indians, and the lady answered, very nice lady or whatnot, and it was actually doable. I think they have levels, like your A tier, B tier, C tier, so on and so forth. So I was kind of looking at B tier, right? And I think it was like, at the time, maybe like 5,000 or something or another, which we all could have pitched in at the shop and we would have got it, and we got so many games or something or another it went. But it was doable, I mean? Like, oh, okay. So I called the Cavs. Theirs was maybe 3 times more, 4 times more. I called the Browns, man. I didn't get a person. I left a message. The lady was kind enough to call me back. And just to sum it up for you, she basically said, yeah. I think, did I tell you this before, Brother Rich? My bad for being redundant.
No, I can imagine with it. Yeah. No, I just can imagine with it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, in so many words, she played me like, she talked to me like she was a Rolls Royce dealer. In other words, like if you come in, if you got to ask how much it costs, you ain't got no business calling here. You know what I mean? I was like, what? And this was when the Browns was 3-13. I was like, oh, okay, that's how y'all rolling. Like next. I was like, whoa, all right. So you played me. So yeah, that NFL money is humongous. So you talking about going over to Europe and the UK and the pound with the pounds, The exchange rate, I mean, it's got to be off the charts, man. And they talking about 2 games? And I don't even know. I think the last time that the game was played in London, somewhere like Wembley Stadium or something like that, because Wembley is a soccer stadium, correct? Double J, Brother Rich?
Well, that's more their Olympic stadium.
Okay.
Okay,
so if you fill that stadium, you're talking about what, over more? I mean, what, 100,000? Probably more than what the Buckeyes fit in the Horseshoe and what they fit up in Michigan and Ann Arbor, right? At Wembley, is it more? The seat?
Yeah, absolutely. It holds 100,000. Yeah, absolutely. It holds 100,000. Yeah.
Okay, so if them folks over there starved for American quote unquote football, they'll fill them seats. So add that money on top of the money. Man, come on, man.
Yeah, because again, you got to remember, it's no different than my own approach with the Pistons. I'm there for the opponent for the most part.
Oh, are you?
And the same could be said for these guys. Well, look,
I know.
I'm not there for the product on the floor.
Yeah,
you know how. Look, you spend enough time in Cleveland, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly. I used to. Yeah, I used to, oh, you just found that cackling kind of funny, huh, Brother Rich? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep sipping out the soup ladle at Whole Foods, and believe me when I tell you, Wolf Blitzer will be on the scene.
I do want to say this.
Go ahead.
I do want to say this. When you talk about the NFL money, just look at what the Raiders did with their stadium deal. They bought the land at what, $6 million? That was appraised at what, $12 million?
Yeah.
And then they sold it for $158 million, and then just promptly released it from the new buyer.
Unbelievable. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of stadiums, on a side note, I'm so glad Steve Ballmer is buying the Forum. James Dolan is done in L.A., baby. California. Get him out of there. Matter of fact, you can get rid of both of the Dolans if you ask me. The one here in Cleveland for the Indians and the other one in New York. What's going on with the Knicks, man? It's just that's disgusting to basketball.
I tell you, it's a head hanging shame for all people who have any affiliation with the New York area, the New York, and certainly the New York Knicks, and all basketball lovers and historians, that the New York Knicks franchise has come to such a disgrace in the hands of such a shameful human being.
Yes. I'm glad you put it that way, Brother Rich, because, you can get fired up when it comes to them Knicks, baby. And I'm glad you put it that way. But, yes, I'm in agreement with you 110,000%. And then for Spike not to be on the scene no more, Spike is the Knicks. You don't talk New York Knicks without talking Spike Lee, baby.
Right.
Do the right thing, Dolan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And look at this. You're arguing with this man over the entrance to the arena, over a door, over what door.
I know.
You are a multi-billionaire owner that your team has been in the toilet for 1,000 years. Rather than focus on the prominent things that need to fix a historic franchise, you're worried about what door this guy comes through.
Yeah. I bet you Willis Reed ain't coming through that door. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just wanted to just throw that out there. I'm glad Steve Ballmer is buying up all of the Forum and everything around it. But remember, we talked about that too, though. We talked about that too when we mentioned that Dolan was trying to sue the city of L.A. and they was like, yo 25 cents compared to his 25 million player. You know what I'm saying? We'll holler back at you. But, I'm glad Steve Ballmer. Yeah, the Clippers need their own digs, man, because I think they're on the come up, for real. And they need to have their own backyard or driveway, so to speak. But back to the NFL, though. At the end of the day, man, could you see XFL players, Double J? Should there be a lockout or work stoppage or strike or whatever you want to call it? Could you see some of the XFL players? Because they don't get much. I don't know what XFL players' salary is. And it's some good football, by the way, man. I'm liking the XFL, for real. This new version. I like the old version, but I said that already. But I like both. Could you see some of the XFL players, in this mass exodus going over to the NFL? Should there be a stoppage?
Again, it depends on the language in the contract, but I would imagine that it would, in some respects, because they don't compete with one another, during the season, that there is the potential, depending on, again, how the language within the contracts. It's no different, just because we may view it as a quote-unquote lesser product, and even then that's subjective, it does not mean that, hey, once our season's done, we're expecting you to, just go off and play elsewhere. So it would be very interesting, and it's going to put the NFL in a unique spot, because if you recall, if this would have happened a year or two prior to now, they absolutely could have grabbed those guys off the street and every, practice squad across, the 32 teams, and been able to put a shell of itself out there, for the 3 to 4 weeks, and depending on how atrocious the product was, they might give a little bit of more wiggle room to get the deal done.
Mm-hmm.
If you think back to the referee, when the referee issues happened,
right?
There was, you've seen how quick that got resolved after that Green Bay Seattle call. So now they would be in uncharted territory, because you cannot likely go and grab those players, which would have been, as you're seeing, some of which are very capable of playing at that level.
Well, a few of them played in NFL too. Is it Ely? Guy played for the Carolina Panthers. There's a couple of Carolina Panthers that play for the Houston Roughnecks. There's a few former NFL players that would, I don't know, either cut from rosters or whatnot, that are over there. So that kind of gives the XFL a little bit of mini star power, if you would. But go ahead, finish. What were you saying?
Yeah, but again, now you can't go grab that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
so,
no.
This time around, if it really happens, it really happens, meaning, there's an asterisk next to that particular year, because it's going to say that there was a shortened season.
Okay, got you. Well, you know what? Let me throw this out here to both of you all. Brother Rich, we'll let you start on your response. The NFL, they might really want to give, I don't know if you want to be obtuse or arrogant in this particular instance with these negotiations, because the crop of young players, when I mean kids, there's a lot of kids that's not playing football like it was when we was growing up. You know what I mean? So after these guys that we watching now, years down the line or whatever, retire, they got to cycle in some more people, right? From college, so on and so forth. Well, if the young people are watching this type of deal, I'm not saying kids, 8th graders or 9th graders, but I'm talking about some of them guys, on their way to colleges and so on and so forth. They probably looking at this like, the NFL got to get this right, because some of them guys that play football, they also play basketball. You get where I'm going with this? So you got to take care, you got to do this deal right for these players, so that them players coming behind these players, that's coming behind these players, and be like, oh, okay, the NFL, they doing right by dudes now. You see what I'm saying? So I announce I'm going to, whatever big school that is out there. I'm going to Wisconsin to play D tackle or whatever the case may be, as opposed to saying, like my man Antonio Gates, even though he went from basketball to football, you're like, hey, man, I'd rather go on ahead and, get down in the paint and get down and dirty, because NBA contracts are guaranteed. The point is, guys are starting to look at the money now, though.
Here's my rebuttal to you about that. Why I think the NFL owners don't care about that. Here's why. If you expand the game, which is what the NBA will have successfully done.
Yeah.
Then you expand to a market where you believe I'll start pulling players from Australia who want to play in the NFL, London who want to play in the NFL,
okay,
they'll be so, because remember now, you're selling the Shield. They're selling not just the NFL, they're selling America. They're selling the American way and the ability to come to America. And this is why Double J and I talk from time to time about the growing strength and the ever-growing presence of the MSL, because the Major League Soccer program here is growing and it's attracting more and more European imports. This is what they are anticipating to happen in the NFL as well, that it will be filled with imports, and they won't care about these things. They'll be happy to play. You'll have another crop that you can pull from. They'll be happy to play for $6 million in the American lifestyle and so on and so forth.
Okay, got you. Well, the players in this particular case, their contention, the sticking points, is the revenue split. Remember we talked about that 47.5% up to 48%, and that 17th game. Double J, in your opinion, why are we kind of already know what the revenue is, but if you want to speak on that, that's fine too. But in particular, that 17th game, why do you think the players are, why do you think that's a sticking point? That's like, they like, we don't know. Why do you think so?
Well, again, it's wear and tear on the body. It's saying, hey, you got another cross-country trip. There's a lot more involved there. Naturally, as an owner of the team and stadium, just the product, you're excited for that. It's another shot of a packed stadium, or and all the revenues that are associated with it, more than, of course, what they were taking away, which is the quote unquote meaningless preseason game. That was the exchange. Hey, we can make 10 times more from the ownership side than if we versus these preseason games. So it's a win-win from the owner side of things. So it's really a lose-lose for the players. Either you're playing in these meaningless games and that don't count and you risk injury, or you're playing in one that actually does count, but you're not seeing a large enough increase in sum for you.
Okay, so at the end of the day, based on everything we've discussed so far in the last 2 weeks and what you've read and what you've seen in regards to this whole CBA deal, Double J, do you give me a 60-40, 50-50, that type of deal? Do you see a stoppage, or do you see the deal going through?
Right. With this current proposal as it stands, I would say there is a 75-25 shot at a stoppage. But again, I think the closer we move to the draft and then beyond that, that's when there should be an amendment across the board, assuming that this first one does officially get shot down.
Yeah,
so
but
until then we can kind of evaluate when it happens.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be voting on this week though. When, I don't know. So maybe I'm thinking by Friday at worst, we should know whether or not if it's been ratified, dealt on, done deal, or what, right? So, Brother Rich, again, let me throw the same thing at you. Based on everything we've discussed so far and what you've seen, what you've read in regards to this CBA, do you think that they're headed, give me a 60-40, 50-50, so on and so forth, do you think that they're headed for a work stoppage?
That was going to be exactly my percentage. You just articulated 60-40. 60-40 because I certainly appreciate and applaud Richard Sherman and players like that who are speaking on behalf of the future of the players and the current players and encouraging them to have a better CBA and think about the future for the players who are yet to come. Certainly, I would hope that I'm one of the people that hopes that position prevails. Unfortunately, I believe that there is a strong percentage of the players who want the money right now and who are thinking for themselves right now. And unfortunately, they may be swayed and are being swayed by the current circumstances and not thinking for the future. So, but I'm hoping that, and it looks like more players are yet thinking, let's hold the line. So 60-40 that there will be a work stoppage.
Well, my message to the players, I'm torn. I don't know if it's 60-40, 75-25. You all got good numbers there because I can see both cases. Kind of 50-50, but I'll say this. The players, this is your time right now while you have some leverage as opposed to maybe in other CBA years or deals. This is your time now to get whatever it is that you're asking for, or at least get as close to it as possible, as opposed to 2-3 years down the line saying, I want a new deal, so on and so forth. Make it so that we can see less of that guys in the second year of a 5-year deal saying, you know what, I want to restructure, even though I want to redo or whatever the case may be. Even I don't have a problem with that, to tell you the truth, because hey, if I outdo what my expectations were, then yeah, we should be able to come back to the table. Because again, the NFL, they're not bound by any contracts. All right, let's point that out, people. They can cut you. You don't even have to be injured, and they can get rid of you. Am I right, Double J?
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They can get rid of you. So, you know what I mean? The contract is only binding on the player's end, to tell you the truth. Isn't that something? It's a contract, but it's only the only one contractually obligated to abide by the contract, and you being the player.
If you want proof of that, just look at what took place with Jordan Reed of the Washington. I'm not going to refer to their
Thank you.
mascot, if you will. He was in concussion protocol for just about the entire season.
Right.
Had he remained in concussion protocol for an additional week, we're talking through this offseason, he would have been given a signing, his signing bonus, so the bonus money that he was due. And I believe in total he was going to get roughly $5 million. But because he had cleared it, naturally, that means he's totally healthy and the team can cut him.
See what I'm saying? So
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, see what I mean? So in other words,
let me follow back on that and ask this question to the listening audience, all of us. What crime is Antonio Brown guilty of? While he's the same scenario, he has a contract. What crime? He's alleged to have done something. Nobody has yet told us what Antonio Brown did, because he did nothing. He was just alleged to have done something.
Right.
Now, say what you want about it, whether you like his antics or not, but he has a contract. They cut him, and he has no contract left.
Yeah, well, you're talking about separate from his antics. You're just talking about the business side of it. The truth is the truth. I mean, so
I'm just talking about the business side. If we're talking about what you asked us to think about contracts, this is a one-sided contract. That's not a contract that you can just cut me. And come on, I'm not even charged with anything.
Yeah. And I used to ask that just in the day-to-day layman's occupations I had. That's what when you fill out an application and they hire you, it's a contract of sorts. You are an at-will employee. But the idea and the conditioning, the psychological conditioning behind that is you better not do it, but we can do it to you whenever we feel like it. I actually asked the supervisor one time, because they put me on this PIP plan, or what they call it, a performance improvement plan. But they couldn't question my work. They just didn't like the fact that I wasn't fake when I say good morning, then I didn't get all involved in the gossip, the company gossip. Oh, you can't be that kind of person. You get what I'm saying? So they conjured up and concocted and manufactured some issues that they had to sit me down for. But anyway, so I'm reading this thing. This lady say, you need to sign this. For number one, I'm not signing jack. I was born at night, not last night. Number two, let me ask you this question, just so we clear. Y'all done outlined all of this stuff that you say I need to change, and none of it pertains to my work ethic or my attendance or being on time. No, none of that. It's the stuff that typically folks sit you down for. You get what I'm trying to tell you? Y'all, all the stuff y'all got listed, you mean to tell me I can do all of these things, and when I come back for a review after this, because they was putting me on like 90 days or something, after this review, if the person I'm sitting in front of has an issue with me that ain't got nothing to do with work, and they decide they don't like me for whatever reason, they could sign this thing and say I didn't do none of it and I could be fired. She's like, yeah. I was like, y'all got me bent. Here's your paper. You see what I'm saying? It's one-sided. In the case of these NFL contracts, they are one-sided. When the owner or the agents or for the owners, whoever them folks is sitting on that side of the desk that put together the paperwork, and they slide it across the desk to the player and his agent, sign this. But understand, when you sign this, you're the only one that's bound by it. Man, I'll give you another word that is to start with B. Some bull. The number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again, area code 267-687-0026. All right, and our last entree for the day. This is a topic, the favorite topic of Brother Rich and Double J. I got to give them credit because they have been they have been saying since day one, since we started having this discussion. Oh, we got a caller here. Let's see who's calling us in the last half hour. Who's late to the? Oh my gosh, who's late to the party and drinking a big gulp from 7-Eleven? Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? What?
It is a Seagram's ginger ale with lime from Wendy's.
That's what you say, but his video has just surfaced that you was coming out of the liquor store. You know what I'm saying? Seagram's all right, but it ain't got nothing to do with ginger. It might be some ale, but it ain't ginger's ale. You know what I'm saying? What the hell?
I cannot confirm or deny the existence of that picture.
It's all good. I mean, you grown, so, just moderation, okay? Sip, don't slurp. Yeah, joining us on the program at this late hour is, of course, none other than my cat from the CO Long Bus, D. Gully D. What it do?
Everything. How you guys doing?
It's all to the GO.
Yeah. Good. It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Yeah, man, you missed out on
thank you so much.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Why not just have a singing in the rain moment? Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, did it do what? What, Brother Rich? What are we talking about again? Really? We've been on the air for about an hour now, and still this is on your mind? Yeah, let's let that video.
Here we go.
Where we going?
Welcome aboard, Gully.
Yeah, Gully, do you want to chime in? And we get ready to talk about Zion, Brother Rich and Double J's favorite topic. And I was starting to say, when you called in here, to give Brother Rich and Double J credit for pointing out some time ago now that Zion is what Zion was said to be. And so far, that looks to me to be the case. Again, even though I don't like being redundant, I will in this case. Initially, when we were having these discussions, and I'm not going to be interrupted here right now in this moment. Let me have my soliloquy. Thank you very much, Double J. You know what? For that, you can go sit in the corner. You can go sit in the corner. And don't say it wasn't you, Double J, because I know it was you. That's what I thought. Anywho, yeah, initially, I thought there was going to be some weight issues, and I'll be remiss to say, when watching him in college, I didn't watch as much of his games as my son did. My son is thanks to me, of course, I will pat myself on the back for that. Yeah. My son is a student of the game in terms of film study. So he watches games now, and he break it down, and he give me this guy, he don't use his left, right, whereas before he wasn't doing that, of course. Again, let me pat myself on the back. Yeah. Anywho, my son was the one that was like Brother Richard. Brother Rich, my son is the first one who was Zioned out. He was like, "Oh, Dad, you Zion." I was like, if you don't get in there and do them dishes, you're going to be Zion out of here. Anyway, I only saw like 2 or 3 games from the guy. What? Facts. Yeah, you're right.
Smart young man. Dallas Public School System, they did wonderful.
He goes.
They really helped him out.
No, no. Unfortunately, it's not the Dallas Public School System. Yeah. But anyway, he's the one that was pointing out the Zion thing to me. And then, of course, you and Double J weighed in on it. And I was like, man, I only saw 3 games. I was like, that's not enough for me. Yeah, hey, what you want me to say? And then I watched him against Hachimura, and I was like, I don't know. But as of right now, what he doing with the Pelicans? Ordinarily, in any other year, the Grizzlies, Ja would be a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year. But despite Zion not having the same number of games, his overall impact on the Pelicans and the league have many saying he should win the Rookie of the Year. So, Brother Rich, we're going to start with you. Does Zion, and I got a couple more other things I want to add to it. No, actually, we'll start with you, Gully. You just now joining us here. Let you get some action in. Is Zion a legit candidate for Rookie of the Year?
Absolutely, he is. We've seen this before. We've seen injury affected seasons not affect someone's candidacy for Rookie of the Year. The most recent notable
Ben Simmons.
example would be Blake Griffin. Oh, you know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I went. Yeah, matter of fact, you're right. Ben Simmons. The fact is that on the court now, having enough play time and enough spotlight time to really go up against the latest and the greatest, if you will. He's shown that, at least right now, as a rookie, he's shown the word that you may not like. He's shown the potential to really be a true force in the NBA.
And the fortitude. I don't mind
and the
potential in that case, but the fortitude, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think everything that we're seeing from him is legit. I don't think that this is fool's gold. I don't think that this is just going to be something that's going to. I don't think this is here overnight and it's not going to last. I don't think that they'll figure him out going into next season, and all of a sudden what we see this year we won't see next year. He's that deal. He's that deal, and I think it helps. And you kind of hinted at it on what you said here, leading up to me. It helps that the league is played a certain way that you really don't have true bigs. You don't have that abundance of true bigs anymore. And he's showing again that remains relevant. The game can change and the game can be more dynamic, and it can be about three-point shooters and wide-out shooters and all that. It can be all of that and be successful. But here, you know, when you have a meat and potatoes type player, you get some good eating. You know what I mean? And it'll hold you over when it becomes a meat and potatoes type game. Yeah. That's very important. And if they build around that, they'll be where they need to be. Shout out to former Cavs GM Griffin, who's helped to make that possible.
Yeah. I got to give Griff kudos. I told you all in Cleveland that was going to be the Cavs' biggest regret. The Cavs' biggest loss to date is David Griffin. But let me throw this in right quick too. I like Brandon Ingram. I like Lonzo Ball. I like what they're putting together down there in New Orleans. But late in games or in them moments where you need what you need, Zion got to have the ball in his hands, man. I'm sorry. Brandon Ingram cannot be taking the last shot or not be taking that, you know, maybe depending on how much time is left in the game, maybe 3-4 minutes, maybe Brandon can, you know, get a shot up that might help get the lead or tie the game. You know what I mean? But that shot to make or break the moment, it's got to be Zion. Brother Rich, so in your opinion or estimation, does Zion have a legit case for Rookie of the Year?
I love Zion, but no, he does not. And here's why I'm saying this.
What?
Because I
hold it. No.
Allow me.
No, I'm not going to allow you anything. I'm going to be like a doggone Detroit police officer right now. Are you seriously? All this business you've been giving me off air in text messages and Double J been doubling down on?
Here's the reason.
Oh, yeah, I got to hear this.
Here's my reason.
I got to hear this.
Here's my reason. Because Ja Morant it's not his fault that Zion couldn't play the first few months. It's not his fault. And because Ja has been consistent and has proven his own mettle, he's proven himself worthy as an NBA player and a force to be reckoned with. And because I believe that Zion has more, this doesn't surprise me because I knew Zion was this and more. Zion, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Zion, when he has his first healthy year, will be competing for not just Rookie of the Year, but in fact MVPs now. This is about, as we text offline, and I said to you in Double J, this is about to be Zion's league. This is his
okay.
His
yeah, you've been
now.
saying that.
And
You've been saying that for quite some time.
He didn't play the first few months. So I'm not going to penalize Ja because he actually did get to play and he lived up to it. And because Zion has come and shown those of us who knew he was this, we are not surprised by this. We're saying, okay, what did you think he was going to be? When you saw the joy that this young man plays the game, embraces the game, and for those of us who were questioning his basketball bona fide, he proved that when he chose to go play with the only coach that Kobe Bryant said he would have gone to college to play for. LeBron James said he would have gone to college, and that was Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let me tell you the book is out on Krzyzewski, and you can go to ask anybody that talk basketball or know basketball. The part that you don't hear about Mike Krzyzewski, and actually what has shown itself in the fact that since he's been the coach at Duke, not even you can count on one hand the number of players who have had success at the NBA level, because the going thing was, and this goes all the way back to when Nolan Richardson, my team, Razorbacks, in 94 anyway, back during them times, the general consensus was the reason why Krzyzewski's players didn't at the time have success is the same as like Dean Smith in North Carolina and what was my man at UConn? I can't think of his name. And Lute Olson in Arizona, them guys, is because he ran his players into the ground. Now, you ask anybody around basketball, around Cameron and all the area, he used to run his players in the ground. But he has learned. That's why I said. You cut out on me. What did you say?
Never wanted to embrace the one. I said that's absolutely correct, but that's why he never wanted to embrace the one and done philosophy. But now with one and done, he can't do that anymore.
Right, right.
Now his best players come, they do the one and done, and they're out of there. And
yeah.
Zion is a one and done for exactly that reason. But he went there to learn. One thing you can learn from him is the fundamentals of how to play the game correctly.
Okay, but wait a minute. But did he really learn that?
Learn the idea of that.
Did he really learn that from Krzyzewski, or did he learn it from his mama? Because his mama said that she had him.
Mother, but
yeah.
Now, Jay, but we're not gonna undermine the fact that you go to college to get prepared for the next level. And when you go to college for whatever the one and done year that if you're gonna go to college, you go to learn some of the fundamental things. Okay, learn.
You're supposed to, but you don't, because we've seen a lot of one-year players that come from college that look like crap. He is just a special type of dude. That's all.
We're talking about him. Correct.
Right, but he ain't. I don't think. Okay, he played at Duke, but I think whatever he is, what he is right now, I think he got it well. He had it well before he went to Duke. Listen, you could learn a lot. I didn't know this.
I was trying to tell you that. We told you that.
Hold on.
Told you that.
Okay. Okay, but that was then. This is now. I'm a purist, and I'm gonna stay true to being a purist. I'm gonna call it like I said. I can't be no other way. So this is now. And I'm saying now, and I did not know this at the time. Had I known this at the time, my thoughts might have been different. Might have. But anyway, we're here now. When I found out who his mother had him watching, she said he could watch games of somebody, some two notable players. I can't remember. Yeah, you watch highlights of them dudes. But but I want you to watch Jordan. But when you watch Jordan, I want you to watch full games. See what I'm saying? And it goes all the way back to what I've been saying for the longest. Yes, coaching is important. I'm not knocking Krzyzewski in that regard. But what I'm saying is his mama saw and understood the value of film study before he ever laid sight or feet in Cameron. A lot of players will benefit from especially having somebody. You need somebody, but in this case, it wasn't his coach, it was his mama, to say, no, I can see the difference between a guy who's fundamentally sound. And listen, and I'm telling you this because I did it with my son. I said, man, it's fine to watch all these young dudes and these new dudes because this is the area you growing up in. I get it. But if you really want sound basketball skills, then you got to go do what Kobe did. When you go to the gym to work out, you got to go do what Lonzo Ball did. Somebody may have suggested to Lonzo, hey, man, you need to. But it took Lonzo to go in there and work on his shot that he done took care of. But then explain Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Because he was at Kentucky for a year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe two, and then learned what he done came away with. For all of the one players that's like Zion, which they're not, I'll give you that, it's probably 1,000 of them, and I'm being facetious or cynical if you would, who went one and done in college and you don't even know who they are no more. That dude was special before his foundation was set before he ever got to Duke. Now, Krzyzewski might have put some powdered sugar on it. All right, so be it. But it ain't like he was what do you call the guy who works with the clay? It wasn't like what do you call that guy? Gully? Help me out. The guy with the thingamajig. Help me out. You really? You're not gonna help me out? All right, so be it. Anyway, the Potter or Potterer or whatever you call it. Who's laughing? Really, it's funny because I don't know. Oh, Double J is you, right? Okay, but anyway, I'm just saying, man. Listen, is Ja playing like he most deservedly Rookie of the Year? Absolutely. But if you look at Zion, so is he. So is he. Man, that dude, the way he plays in and around the basket, I'm sorry. It's going to take it. You're not going to learn that in 1 year. You're not going to learn that in 1 year. Not even under Dean Smith. Not Roy Williams. Not Lute Olson. Not Nolan Richardson. Not Calipari. Not Patino. You're not going to learn that. I'm sorry, man. They did a breakdown. Legler and them did a breakdown on NBA TV of a game that he played in, and they showed Alvin Gentry he's not the Mark Jackson would be a better coach. Put Mark Jackson on the sideline with this team. Put Mark Jackson on the sideline. Mark Jackson know what to do. I'm sorry. With all due respect to Alvin Gentry ain't the coach for that team. Not with that guy. Not with those group of guys. He ain't the coach for that team, man. I'm sorry. He just ain't. He just ain't. When they did the film breakdown, that's my thing. I'm like detail. I'm with the Mamba. May he rest in peace, Mama Sita, and everybody that was on the tragic flight. Kobe broke the game down to the nuances. Everybody's like I've been saying, man. Why everybody want to add up points per game and field goal percentages and 3-point percentages. Let's add up all the bad possessions. Zion has had more, and I'm just being straight up. He's had more fundamentally professional possessions offensively than a lot of guys that's been in the league for 5 or 6 years. Now tell me I'm lying. And this ain't whether I like him or dislike him. I'm just talking about basketball.
I don't argue with people proving me right.
I'm just saying, okay. I'm just saying. I mean, I give Krzyzewski his credit, but I'm giving more credit to his mama. Double J, you want to have something to say? Is Zion the Rookie of the Year or what?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to say no here. Again, injury is injury, and he is playing incredible. And I think the best is yet to come. Because, again, here's what is often forgotten, too, is that, well, sure, he hasn't played in as many games. That's, what the cynical folks would say. However, what they're forgetting is the opposite side of that, which is these guys are in mid-season form. We're beyond the All-Star break here.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
What he's doing?
Let me ask you this question. They're mid-season, but don't he look like he in mid-season form? When you watch him play, let's be honest. He looked like he been playing for 2 years already.
Without a doubt.
I'm just saying.
Again, I can only judge what I've seen from start to finish. And
okay,
Ja
that's
Morant
fair.
Is one of those players
that's fair.
That he'll have, you'd think he disappeared in the first half. And by the time you look at that final score line, he's got a double-double. And he flirted with, or the Ice Cube didn't mess around and got a triple-double.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me that somebody, that shows a special caliber of player that night in, night out, there's consistency regardless of matchups. Again, you're playing the best of the best in this league. And so you can't have nights off or anything along those lines. And Ja Morant has proven that it doesn't matter the matchup. In the biggest of games, he's still showing up. He has arguably a substantially worse team in comparison, apples to apples, that Grizzlies team versus the Pelicans team. And
that's fact. Yeah, that's a fact too. That's got to be mentioned as well. Yeah.
And unlike, dare I say, Kevin Love with his stats while he was in Minnesota with no team, these are not empty stats, meaning somebody's got to score the ball. This is you put him on any of the other teams in this league, and he's going to have that same consistency, maybe even better.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Ja Morant, you heard it here first.
Question for you guys.
Hold on,
Question for you guys.
Gully. Hold on. What was you saying, Brother Rich?
Ja Morant, you heard it here first. Ja Morant is the potential inheritor of the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant legacy for the future of the NBA. He is that good a player.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I told you he was the most complete player I thought at the time coming out of college. I did. I've never had. And I ain't gonna say never. It's been a long time since I saw a point guard, maybe minus Chris Paul, who had that kind of balance and understood tempo. See, a lot of guys just go fast, and don't get it twisted. I love me some Westbrook. You know what I mean? I can play alongside him because it's tenacity. You know, he not gonna quit. You know what I mean? But the decision making in certain situations, because again, basketball is situational. Just the stuff I saw Ja doing in college, man, in certain situations was he was already a professional, if you ask me. You know, just like one of my other favorite point guards, Mark Price, who don't get the love that he deserved. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story for another day. Let me go around. Yeah, Mark Price was a dog. Let me go around.
I wanted to say the reason why I think ultimately, the unfortunate reason why I think ultimately Zion is going to win it. Though I'm not too upset about that. Fact is, do you remember how well the Grizzlies played against the Lakers?
Yeah.
No. Do you?
Yeah.
The media doesn't remember that. But the media talks about how well Zion played against LeBron James. I think
Yep.
That because that is in our memory, that's going to be that's how he's going to
see the perception is reality.
What Ja Morant is doing. Yeah. So and that's the key. That's the unfortunate part about it because it sort of kind of dims the light on Zion or dims the light on Ja Morant, and it sort of kind of inarbitrarily shines a light on Zion. But aside from that, I mean, they're both great players, though. The league is in good hands if these guys continue to develop the way that they develop, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, I'd like to know Ja's backstory. I think I'm gonna look that up, man, because he got some seasoning well before he ever got to D1. He had to have, because it's been rare. You know what I mean? Come on, man. How many times you see dudes, brand new dudes, come in the league and they first thought ain't, let me see how many threes I can get up. That's why I say, man, everybody be counting points and plus, minus, and BPI. Man, miss me with all that garbage. Let's count up all the terrible possessions and all the three-point misses as opposed to three-point makes. And then you tell me where your team and what the outcome shake. That make any sense? Man, stop it. I'm so tired of people talking about James Harden and how prolific a scorer he is. I mean, it's sickening. It's sickening. Until he do it in the playoffs or win a championship, I don't want to hear nothing else about James Harden. And then he got the nerve to be trying to jaw with Giannis. I'm so glad Giannis didn't get pulled into that drama crap. Yeah, if I was long and I could take 3 steps every time I get, I'm like, really? You, of all people? Mr. Take 25 steps. I mean, this dude took the long. Anyway, yeah, we already know how we feel about James Harden. And, you know, I'm going to go around the room here right quick, and I want to say this. Do you think that in this instance, the scales will be tipped in Zion's favor, so to speak? Let's say that the Pelicans get the 8th seed and Memphis doesn't. Brother Rich, will that then catapult Zion into
I think
Rookie
that
of the Year?
absolutely would tip it in his favor. Absolutely would.
It would.
Absolutely. Because then, especially if they're poised to play the Lakers, which everyone is anticipating, would be the marquee first-round matchup. Absolutely, that would tip it in his favor.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, if it go down like that, the NBA might as well not even schedule no other games that day. Ain't nobody gonna watch nothing else but the Pelicans and the Lakers in that game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They might don't even put nothing else on the slate. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. Even after that game go off, no matter who win or lose, it's gonna take so much out of you that you ain't even think about nothing else after that. But to maybe go to sleep, lay down, and take a nap. Double J, should the Pelicans get that 8th seed and the?
You know how
Go ahead.
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I would love nothing more. Honestly, I would love nothing more. That to me gives you vibes of a finals in the first round. And if you watch how close they've played each other, as you know, each of you have pointed out about where some of the deficiencies are late in these games. Again, the only reason we're able to draw those conclusions, it represents that these guys are in the game late in the game.
Yeah.
So specifically against the Lakers, who are supposed to be your NBA champion.
Yeah.
So I love the matchup. I loved watching this young man bully Superman, if you will, or at least Clark Kent. And you're seeing things from this group that I believe can be special and can happen very quickly. I'm going to use a different sports comparison here, which was the Chicago Cubs when they were horrible. Theo Epstein told them, give me 5 years. By year 3, they were ready to contend, and then, of course, in year 4, they actually won it. I've been screaming from the rooftops since since the draft of Zion, before he ever set foot on any floor and professionally, that combination of him and David Griffin and how David Griffin analyzes his salt intake to his heartbeat, and it wouldn't shock me if they tested his bowel movement. I've never seen anything like it.
Too much information.
I can't get enough of it. And it is going to make it a very, very exciting April.
Yeah, I think so, too.
With one caveat, I have to agree with you on this, Jay. They need to get rid of their coach. He's not the guy to take.
Yeah, Alvin Gentry ain't the guy.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, he's not the guy for that squad.
Absolutely.
But just think about let's say the Pelicans make the playoffs. Man, that's gonna make Dan Gilbert and the Cavs. That's gonna make them look. Even though the Cavs do got a few pieces that I like. I like Garland and I like Porter. That should be the Cavs' future backcourt. And Sexton need to come off the bench. But anyway, we're not talking the Cavs right now. Boy, they make the playoffs. Woo-wee. David Griffin going to get some type of hardware added to that shelf. I'll tell you that. Gully, and we'll finish it off with you. The Pelicans make the 8th seed, and the Grizzlies don't. Even though you're already saying it'll be Zion, would that emphatically tip the scales in favor of Zion for Rookie of the Year? You there? No? Maybe? Oh, I guess not. I still see his phone. There's a number here. Where he at? I have no idea.
All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties there. Definitely. That will definitely make for a great case to solidify Zion winning Rookie of the Year. Also, it makes for a great playoff matchup. I think you guys already completely.
Yeah, we touched on that. Yeah,
explained how effective. Y'all put. Ain't much more I can add other than that. It'll be very exciting to see. But I tell you what, though, the question I'd have for you guys is, even if we were to get that matchup, how well do you anticipate Zion performing in the clutch? We like to make. Obviously the playoffs are a different beast than the regular season. But do you think you'd see a different type of Zion, one that'd be the one that'd be caught up in the moment, or will you see somebody who, upon their first arrival, like a Michael Jordan, like a Kobe Bryant, really seizing the opportunity and really making a good playoff?
I mean, that's a good question. You got to ask that technically because the playoffs are a different animal. But I'm gonna tell you, man. Again, you all have to go and look at, stay away from ES Sports Center and all of them, unless they're showing Legler and he's doing a film breaking down, where they put the little circle under the player that's kind of spinning, and they put an arrow where he getting ready to go before they run, they stop the play. So you got to look at all that kind of stuff. So you can understand why this guy's going to the corner as opposed to this guy going to the top and all of that. Like Kobe's detail. When they broke him down, and a lot of the stuff he was doing was instinctive, devoid, or excuse me, despite whatever Gentry was spitting. This dude has been, I'm like, man, I'm watching Legler or whatever on NBA TV. They was breaking down. I'm saying, man, this dude, he understands it. He understands where to go and when to go. He know how to either set a pick or act like he gonna set the pick and do a slip screen. He got all of that, man. His understanding of what to do. That don't mean that they're gonna win the series. You know, you still got to have playoff experience and so on and so forth. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Listen, I'm not calling no shot here. All I'm saying is I watched the AFC Denver Nuggets knock off a 1 seed Seattle Supersonics. Okay? We've seen upsets in the NBA before that supposedly it shouldn't happen. I'm sure Double J has been in a lot of betting houses where folks was ripping their slips up. You know what I'm trying to tell you? Because, all right. Matter of fact, if you go all the way, not all the way back, but a few years back, in college basketball, the Kentucky team was 30-0. You know, it wasn't no foregone conclusion, is all I'm saying. Hey, man, this dude, he different, man. He understands. You know how some players talk about that we know, Reggie Millers and Isaiah Thomases and all that. I'm talking about Zeke from Detroit, the Pistons. They talk about, you know, after you've been in the league so long, you got to, you know, Ray Allen even, you know, what's as a shooter, and Lloyd Daniels and Antonio Daniels and Sean Elliott, them type of guys, you know, hey, man, you know, you got to know, you got to get certain spots on the floor. You got to learn. Man, he already know where he going on the floor. Who doing that as a rookie? Who doing that? Come on, man. So, I mean, and that's not saying that they going to sweep the Lakers or they going to beat I don't know. We got to wait to the playoffs. But I'm telling you, don't be surprised if he punished some people the way we expect for folk to be punished. I put it like this. I promise you, let Patrick Beverly be in front of Zion. In any game, playoff or otherwise. And I ain't saying it's going to happen, but you get what I'm saying? Let Rayford Austin be in front of Zion. Punish him. Let J.J. Barea be in front of Zion. He going to punish him. I'm telling you he going to punish him. His mama said so. That's why. And at the end of the day, yeah, I ain't surprised. Oh, and by the way, you know, to finish the season out, the Grizzlies got a tougher schedule. Matter of fact, yeah, they got a tougher schedule than these said Zion-led Pelicans. But we shall see. I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure. About time we done brought some old school back up into this new school and get rid of all of these 27 straight missed threes. Right? Yeah. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. Y'all know what the deal is. You go to Spreaker, up to the search box, and you type in the shop report. Oh, and while you're over there, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you download your favorite podcast at and give us a follow. And don't forget to subscribe there as well. And, of course, our YouTube channel. And if you want to, you can drop us a line via email, your comments, suggestions, or whatnot, to shopreport365@gmail.com. And if that don't work, Google it. For my dudes, B Rich, Double J, and D Gully, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. Oh, by the way, before we get out of here, just want to give some more T-shirt shout-outs. My man Raymond Mallett, if I didn't say so already. Lionel Hatton, if I didn't say. Leon Brown Jr. and Jewel, one of my co-workers, they all got T-shirts. Again, we say thank you for your support. I'm surprised I didn't have no senior moments today, and I might have, or I might have been more redundant, but y'all can forgive me, right? Again, as always, we say thank you. Yeah, save it, will you? I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!